Hey guys, my name is Matsumoyo, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I'll give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you'd like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. The first question today comes from Rick, and it is, did you see that Ubisoft is going to be fixing crouch and lean spam in Rainbow Six Siege? Yes, I have, and at least for me personally, this is great news. Now, sadly, Ubisoft doesn't go into the exact details on how they're going to be addressing the issue. They've basically acknowledged that it's a problem, which is a great first step, and now they're going into the prototype phase to try to solve it. Now, if I had to take a guess on how Ubisoft is going to be addressing this, is that first of all, they're just simply going to have to slow down the animations when you do lean to the left and the right, and when you crouch up and down. They're just too fast right now. Doesn't matter how good you are, if that animation is just too quick, there's no way for you to be able to predict when an enemy player is going to make that lean to the left and the right, and it's really difficult to compensate for it. And so by slowing down those animations and making them a bit more realistic, it's going to make it easier for people to actually adjust in those kinds of situations. Another way they could go about it, and one suggestion I've heard a lot from the community, is that the more often you spam the crouch button, the slower the animation becomes. So that first crouch is as fast as it is right now, but then everything after that gets slower and slower. And so if you're someone who does like to bounce up and down all over the place, you're eventually going to become an easier target, and so the advantage of that goes away. Now, the reason why I don't think that this solution would go far enough is that Rainbow Six Siege is a very fast-paced game. As we all know, one round can mean the difference between winning and losing, and if someone rounds the corner, identifies, and they see you, they start to lean left and right, crouch up and down. If those first couple of leans and crouches are the same speed that they are right now, it doesn't matter that they slowly start to lose the momentum of their animation, that the animation starts to slow down if those only first couple of leans are just as fast. Most engagements are only going to last that split second. And so if they're able to keep that really fast movement for that brief window, it doesn't matter that anything after that is going to be slowed down. And so this is kind of why I recommended or hope that they're just going to be slowing down the animations in general. And while I still think this is a great idea and something that Ubisoft should explore, other video games do it and it would be a great way at stopping those players who literally just run around the map leaning and crouch spamming all over the place. Like that would be a great way at stopping that kind of gameplay, but I think overall it does still need to be in tandem with this other solution, but of course that is just my opinion. All in all though, I'm just simply glad that Ubisoft has addressed that this is an issue and they're going to be trying to solve it in the near future. I feel like this entire mechanic goes against the spirit of Rainbow Six Siege, and so it's just really great to see that they are going to be taking some steps to try to solve it. The next question is, have you played the Anthem demo, and if so, what do you think of the game? I had a surprising amount of fun with Anthem. Even though it does have its issues, which we'll get to here in a second, I was really enjoying my time with the demo. One thing I was not expecting to love as much as I did is the movement system. When you watch a video of this game with people flying around, it looks cool, but it definitely doesn't do it justice. When you're flying around like Iron Man and you're dodging shots in the air itself, you fly up, hover, and then use your ultimate ability to rain destruction down below, it is incredibly satisfying. And while it does take a while to get used to this movement system, it took me a few hours just to get adjusted and acclimated to the way that it works, once you do, I think it's one of the best redeeming qualities of this game. Another thing I really appreciated is that teamwork is heavily rewarded. This game is being compared to Destiny, and rightfully so. They share a lot of similarities, but one thing that I appreciate compared to Destiny is that there's a lot more synergy between all the different characters, or javelins. Now, don't get me wrong, I do realize that teamwork is very important in Destiny, especially if you're doing that endgame content like the raids, for example, but the actual synergy between all the classes is very minimal. In Anthem, though, that is not the case whatsoever, which I really appreciate. If you use a special ability on a grunt, for example, that will prime the target. So let's say it does ice damage. They're frozen. Then you can have another teammate go on in and then shatter them with their ability, doing even more damage, way more damage than they ever would before. It's that kind of synergy that I really appreciate, and it looks like that's the direction that they're going for this game. Now, all that being said, it definitely was not without its problems. Probably the biggest one that was plaguing the actual demo is that no one was able to get online. They had a lot of server stability issues, infinite loading screens, simply just not able to connect to the server to begin with. And while this is to be expected, especially for a game that has a lot of interest behind it, to see this many issues right before the game releases is a bit concerning. Now, if that was the only problems, I wouldn't be all that worried about it because that can be addressed, server issues can eventually be resolved, but actually when you got into the game itself, it was also riddled with a fair amount of bugs and glitches. Audio cut out of nowhere, you would enter the hub area, and there would be no NPCs anywhere. I literally entered into this giant plaza and there was no one around. I had to restart my game to actually see people in that location. I wasn't able to play as another Javelin because for some reason, once I hit level 12, where you're able to unlock another Javelin, it just didn't allow me to do so. This is a glitch that a lot of other people experience. And so while I'm still looking forward to Anthem, it's cautious optimism. I'm really hoping that this is going to be a game that I can really sink my teeth into and enjoy for months on end. We have no idea what the end game content is going to be like. We don't know if it's going to be shallow. It could just be grinding the same missions over and over and over again for a slight stat boost so you can continue to grind those missions over and over and over again. I'm hoping there's going to be a lot of build diversity so you can have a lot of RPG elements, a lot of customization there, but we won't really know until we get our hands on the base game. And so in general, I am still very excited because of the gameplay I experienced. I loved that, but I'm very cautious because of these unknowns and also because of the big issues that we experienced during the demo. The next question comes from Scotty, and it is, what do you think about adding a tech stat into Rainbow Six Siege similar to speed and armor to add another dimension to operator stats? This could extend to defenders in their diffuse speed. Certain operators would be better for diffuse carrying or anchoring, while others benefit from a higher speed from roaming. That is a really interesting concept, and like you said, would bring in another dimension and another way for Ubisoft to actually balance out these operators. So what you're describing is that you could have an operator that is 1 armor, 3 speed, but maybe they have a 3 speed tech stat or something along those lines. Or maybe they're a 1 tech stat. And so the higher the number or the faster they are at actually diffusing the objective or planting the objective. And so by introducing a stat like this, Ubisoft could further define the roles of all of these characters. You want someone to really be a good anchor, or let's say for example, there's an operator that isn't really good right now. They could use a bit of improvement. We'll give them a high tech score. You have roamers that are already good at what they do, maybe they have a low tech score. This could add in a different kind of dynamic that we simply just do not have right now. Now, the reason why I'm a little hesitant about this, though, is that this might just introduce unneeded complexities that we don't really need right now. A really good example of this is Echo. I consider him to be one of the best defenders. Like, in the right hands, he is a force to be reckoned with. It would also make sense that this guy would have a high tech score, like he's tech savvy, like his entire character revolves around him being really intelligent, being really good with gadgets, and so it would make sense that he would have a high tech score. But I think most people would agree that he doesn't really need a buff. Like, that doesn't make any sense. In all honesty, he might need a little bit of a toning down. He is that strong. And so by introducing this new stat, yes, it gives Ubisoft another way to balance out these characters, but it could also just introduce unnecessary complexity. If you do have him with a lower tech stat, it goes against his backstory, it goes against his lore, which would just simply cause some confusion. It's like, I'm playing as Echo, why in the world can't I, diffuse this faster than anyone else? Like, he should be really good at that, but it doesn't make sense in his current balanced position. On top of that, they'd also have to take this into consideration for every future operator that they ever introduce, which could limit them design-wise as well. And so all in all, while I do think that this is a really interesting idea, don't get me wrong, I think it's really intriguing in another way that Ubisoft could try to balance out the game in another way. I just don't know if it's necessary right now, or if it really would enhance the game in the long term, but of course that is just my 2 cents. The next question comes from James, and it is, should Ubisoft allow console players to remap controls so we can customize them to our individual playstyle? For example, make the right stick change stance instead of B or circle. Absolutely. Now, you guys are going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm sure many of you guys play more console games than I do, but I would have figured that by this point, it would have been the industry norm to allow this kind of customization. If we're able to have the wide variety of different key bindings, being able to change our key bindings however we want on PC, why can't that be a thing for console? They're just inputs. Being able to press the X button over the Y button, why can't I change that to my desired input? Like, why is that not a thing? And so, yeah, I am 100% on board with this. Maybe there is some limitation between Microsoft and Sony. Maybe they're the reason why that is impossible. But I would hope by today, where people are trying to be able to customize their games to however they want to play, which, like I said, it makes sense. Like, people should be able to change the button layouts the way that they want, the way that they're most comfortable with. You would think that this would be a standard, and I think that should be no different for Rainbow Six Siege. But yeah, guys, that is what it for today's episode of Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed in today's video. Did you have a lot of fun with the Anthem beta? Are you concerned with it? Do you like the idea of having a tech stat introduced in Rainbow Six Siege? Why or why not? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, if you'd like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can also leave a comment or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.